line of your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maybe see. Please bow. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you that we are able to celebrate our graduation and we wouldn't be here without you. I pray that you continue to watch over us and guide us in the right direction. We pray that you continue to bless everyone who joined us today to celebrate Pearl Prep's class of 2024 and allow us to drive home safely and watch over us and our families this summer. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I want to say, as those girls go back to get ready, I do want to make a few comments on this class. So each class kind of has their own personality. The beginning of this year, we kind of had a rocky start. I had to go in, we're not going to go into details, but at one point I did go in and tell the class that I was very disappointed in them, and they were not an example of what I thought a Pearl Prep 6th grade class should be. And I also told them that they have now a chance to change because it was still the very beginning of the year, and that they could turn around things. And I expected at graduation to say how proud I was of them and what a wonderful class they were. I'm up here to say they proved us all wrong in their assessment at the beginning of the year, in that they turned out to be one of our favorite classes ever. And I want to kind of share why. When I went in to challenge them, I read to them the mission of Pearl Prep, which is Pearl Preparatory School was established to promote the comprehensive development of the average child through a stimulating, synergetic, and wholesome environment. I asked them what that meant to them, and they came up with a wonderful contract, it's a whole page long, of how they were going to behave for the rest of the year. And they came through and proved true. I told them at the moment they would be the best Pearl Prep class ever if they could really hold to that contract. And I feel they really did. Let me give you just a couple examples of what this class has done this year. We have every year a Grandparents' Day, and our 6th graders serve as, it's kind of their service thing where they help out at the Grandparents' Day. And they help with the activities. I have never had so many teachers and grandparents come up to me and say, what a wonderful group of 6th graders those were. I remind you, these are preteen students. So they said they are the most wonderful students. They went on field trips, on other trips where we were getting messages back, wow, what a great group of students. I have never myself ever seen a class be such great reading buddies to the little students. These students worked with the kindergarten students each week to read with them, and they not only would take the book and read with them, they really made it an engaging experience for those young kindergartners, and it was such an amazing thing to see. They learned all their names, they gave them high fives every day. It was what I always envisioned a Pearl Prep 6th grade class would be like. And the last one I'm going to share just happened yesterday. Almost brought me to tears when I heard the story. We had, yesterday was our Chuck E. Cheese outing, which they all made their 50-hour reading goal. Congratulations. They got to go to Chuck E. Cheese yesterday. And while they were supposedly, this was reported through another teacher, not Mr. Drain, that they were on the dance floor when a parent who had a 4-year-old autistic son, they noticed his son was kind of edging towards the dance floor and wanted to dance too. And the gentleman, the father, said he was never so impressed with a group of young people that they welcomed his little 4-year-old, made sure he had a wonderful time on the dance floor. And he came to one of our teachers in tears, just saying what a wonderful moment that was for him to see such wonderful young people engaging with his little son. And I think they have been a good representation of what we expect here at Pearl. And at this time, we will have the 6th grade procession. At this time, I have the privilege of awarding the special awards for our students. We're going to start first with the Principal's Physical Fitness Award. This is for students who do meet criteria in 5 different categories, including running a mile. They have to have some fitness tests, including strength and agility. And if they can meet those criteria, they receive a special award, and that goes to Drew Covey, Isaiah Garcia, and Joseph Shine. Parents, for any awards, you can come up to the center aisle if you want to get a better picture from straight up. Our next award is for the Noetic National Math Contest. Our students compete against students across the country in a math contest. And we did have some students earn National Honorable Mention, as well as a class winner who won a medal. So come on up for our Honorable Mention: Wai Chang, Jia Mayuga, Anita Wong, and Ivan Zong. And Anita was our class winner and will also receive a medal. Okay, the next award. This is a special award. It is the President's Educational Awards that the students receive. They will receive a certificate signed by the President. In case they ask me what president, I said the United States President, the real one. So They received this award by meeting national criteria of having a 3.5 GPA, and also they must score at least 85th percentile in either a math or reading test. So at this time, and that's a standardized test, if I didn't say that. Okay, come on up, YY Jane. Mackenzie Mattis. Gia Mayuga. Jeremiah Perez. Keola Tai. Anita Wong. Isaac Zong. And Rena Zhou.
Scoot close.
Okay, one last time. And now at this time, we proudly introduce the teacher that made all this possible, Mr. Ed Drain. Come on up. We gotta call him up here for the speeches because he's in present. Okay, come on up, our valedictorian, Keola.
Over the years, I made a lot of memories with my friends and teachers here at Pearl, some of which I want to share with you as we look over our last 7 years. In kindergarten with Mrs. Fullerton, what I remember most is baby chickens. I also loved winning prizes at the dining room. With Mrs. Johnson in first grade, we had the funnest and nicest reading bunnies. I also enjoyed studying with Dr. Hopkins. Moving on to Mrs. Fullerton, we had flat standing, and we would receive postcards from all around the world. That's also when COVID first started, and we had Zoom classes. Mr. Drain, who's my current teacher right now, was also
Like one of my favorites was I Buzz Aldrin. Second man to walk on the moon, kneel before me. One of my favorite memories in 6th grade was going to Catalina Island for science camp. We got to ride in a boat, and I went snorkeling for the first time. It was cool because we got to see the fish up close. We also got to kayak. Jerry was my kayak buddy. He did not want to jump out of the kayak. The guy said we could jump in, but I convinced him to do it. We even tried to swim all the way to the other group of kayaks, but I saw help. I said, "Nope, Jerry, we're getting back in the boat." Then Ian came to rescue and help us get back in. One of my favorite field trips was Expression in Wood. That field trip was amazing because they showed you everything wood made. Like there was so much wood that smelled like my dad's garage. They also made a plaque for Mr. Green, and guess it was made out of wood. It was also, I will always remember the many memories I made with my friends through kinder through 6th grade. And I want to thank Mrs. Moore along with all my teachers for supporting me, especially Mr. Grant, who was our teacher both in 3rd grade and 6th grade. We're the last class to be able to say that. Thank you, Mr. Green. You're the GOAT.
All right, this is more threw me off. She tested me. Okay, first of all, I want to thank all the people who helped make tonight happen. We couldn't have done it without you. And welcome to this year's 6th grade graduation. Coming into this year, I was excited because although, once again, I was getting to teach a class I had in 3rd grade, it was going to be a little different because a majority of the students were new to me. So it was going to be like teaching a whole new class. One of the things I love about 6th grade is that I always get to learn a couple new words. I get to add them to my vocabulary because they make me sound cool. This year's words, or the words most often used, were preppy and Sigma. Now I'm cool. But no, this is such an incredible class that blends so well together. And without a doubt, this is more kind of mentioned before, the best task accomplishing class I've ever taught. In Catalina, we all had these blue duffel bags. And we always add a couple to carry our food and other things. And the goal is to get them on the boat in in the least amount of trips as possible. Usually we got to go back and forth. But this time, Mr. Moore challenged them, let's do it in one trip. And sure enough, we got on the boat to come back home in one trip. First, I want to talk about the boys. I have the privilege of seeing these guys 6 days a week because I either coach them or coach against them in a Care Youth League. And I didn't think this was possible, but this is without a doubt the most competitive group of boys I've ever taught. And with a group like this, they always got to know who the alpha is. So early on in the school year, I had this thing where if they were ever standing by the trash can, I would get a piece of trash, I would walk over, and then I would dunk on them. Bentley knows what I'm talking about. Also, for the first time, I tried something a little new. We have some time before PE every day. So I had this challenge where you place an Oreo on your forehead, and the goal was to get it into your mouth the fastest without using your hands. And I have never seen such intensity with eating an Oreo in my life. I also remember a day we had a class party, and part of the class party was, part of the fruit spread for that party was grapes. So I took a grape,
And I went out and said, hey guys, watch this. And I threw it up in the air, and I caught it in my mouth. Then I heard one boy say, hey, I could beat that. And the next thing I know, I'm ducking for cover under the picnic table because it's raining grapes. Sorry, Mr. Lawrence. Yeah, clean that up. By the way, no one beat me. I do thanks. Now I want to talk about the girls. Okay, there are 16 of them, which is the most I've ever had in one class. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous about having that many girls in one classroom each day. My Apple Watch is amazing, but it told me the decibel level on my phone was at an unhealthy level a lot of the time. After a couple field trips this year, I got some people come up to me and say, Mr. Drake, how do you do it? All I can say is in the summer, I put my coffee in this. In the fall, I put it in this. And now, it's in this. There are a couple instances that are permanently etched in my mind with this group of girls, and they both come in Catalina. First, these girls love to sing. And we take a night hike to go look at the stars as part of our astronomy section during science. And we go on this hike that's up a hill, and below us, about 200 feet, there's a baseball field. And they were always playing like adult league, slow pitch softball out there. And I can just remember the whole hike. The girls are singing songs I've never heard of before, but they're singing songs at the top of their lungs the entire hike. The people from the field were looking up into the mountainside to see what was going on up there. And then Mr. Moore said, if you don't mention this at graduation, I'm quitting. So there it is. And lastly, these girls, I describe it as they have an uncontrollable scream reflex. Okay, so we're at our campground, and I'm helping out with some things, and all of a sudden I hear one of the highest pitched, loudest screams I've ever heard. I thought somebody was bitten by a rattlesnake. I was running over there, and there's a group of girls huddled up, and I go, what happened? They said, Mr. Drain, remember the lyrics to the song from the Zombies movie? Well, you know what? After 9 months, I've definitely grown to appreciate all of them as individuals, and I enjoy spending time with them each day. And now it's time to meet these famed individuals. I'm going to be calling them up alphabetically by last name. They will get their diplomas from Mrs. Moore. And parents, you can feel free to come up in the front and take pictures when your child's name is called. First up, Zaya Cespedes. So Zaya is someone I did not have the opportunity to teach in 3rd grade. And recently she told me it was because back then I was too scary. So, well, I'm glad you came this year. A couple of words that come to my mind when I think of Zaya are toughness and courage. This first memory I have speaks to her toughness. One day I was doing a candy scramble, and there was one candy left on the floor. And Zaya and a boy who remained unnamed were going for this candy. And they both reached down at the same time, and Zaya grabs it while knocking the boy clear out of the way. Zaya casually gets up and does the mature thing and just eats the candy and walks away, while I am going, "You got lit up, son!" So the guy who's laying on the ground feeling embarrassed. The next story I have about her courage is in Catalina. Zaya warned me that she was not the most confident swimmer. So she was a little worried about snorkeling or kayaking, but I really appreciated she jumped right in. And even when she didn't have to, she still went in. and that speaks to her courage. And I just want to say thank you, Zaya, for those unforgettable moments, and I always admire you for your courage and toughness. YY Cheng. I first met YY when I taught her in 3rd grade. It was a little tough because we started on Zoom that year. And my earliest memory of her was during our Zoom classes. I would periodically have to call on her because she was never looking at me or looking at my picture. And I found out later it's because she had a separate screen that was playing YouTube. I thought the issue was fixed because she started staring at me the entire time. Then it turns out it's just because the screen moved directly in front of my face and the YouTube was still happening. But we've come a long way since then. I have a lot of respect for YY because she's able to live her life in a way I wish I could. Stress-free. I have a phrase that I like to say in class that goes, do your best and forget the rest. YY embodies that to perfection. I can say without hesitation that YY always does her best, and most importantly, she forgets the rest. Thank you, YY. Dominic Contreras. Before this year, there were only 2 things I knew about Dom. First was that he was a member of the KYL USC Trojans, my Cal team's biggest rival since the beginning of time. The other, and most importantly, he was a 49er fan. We were rocked. We were rocked in the Super Bowl this year. Refs. No, it's never the refs' fault. Just kidding. Dom loves football. And if you were to watch him play, it wouldn't take you long to find him. Just follow the trail of bodies that have been left behind because they had to attempt a block or tackle Dom. But although he is a force to be reckoned with on the football field, the thing I appreciate most about Dom is his big heart. On more than one occasion this year, Dom has stepped up and defended a classmate who may have been the topic of a joke that went too far. So Dom steps in, and once Dom steps in, everybody stops. But it shows that he cares about his classmates, and that's what impresses me the most. So Dom, don't stop caring, and continue to let your big heart grow. Kayla Coulter. This is the second time I've been blessed to teach Kayla, and I can say that I'm very proud of Kayla for persevering in her schoolwork. You know, she really accepted the challenge and was able to improve academically. And in my time spent with her, I have discovered the secret sauce to her success. And I think she would confirm this with me. There's 2 things, Flamin' Hot Chips and zesty buffalo sauce. You know, I once walked over during snack and Kayla was holding a rather large black tub. She walked over and said, "Mr. Drain, you want some?" I looked inside and all there was a variety of different Flamin' Hot chips. I then replied, "This is out of control." Kayla said, "What are you talking about? This is the most important type of food I eat." You know, if America runs on Dunkin', then Kayla runs on spicy. Also, another memory I have is, you know, one day I was looking up from my desk, and we all know in this class that Kayla loves zesty buffalo sauce. She orders the nuggets to go with the sauce, not the sauce to go with the nuggets. But one day I looked up, and on the ledge of the window above my desk, there was a package of zesty buffalo sauce. I was going to take it down, but Kayla said it has to stay there forever. So there it still sits. And now every time I look up, I'll be reminded of Kayla. Thank you. Drew Covey. All right, something you can always count on with Drew is that she's very opinionated. And she voiced her opinions many times this year. For example, we had to take a grammar exam. And she came to me and said, Mr. Drain, why do I need to learn grammar? I can talk, isn't that enough? Or when she informed me that, Mr. Drain, snorkeling isn't it, because I kicked a fish and the fish chased me. But what I can relate to and what I appreciate about Drew is that she shows she cares about people, not by what she says, but by what she does. On my birthday this year, she came to me and she said, Mr. Drain, I'm going to get you something. I said, Drew, don't worry about it. She says, no, I'm going to get you something. And the next day, she walks in with this giant green dinosaur, tosses it at me, says his name is Jimmy Drainosaurus. Happy birthday, I guess. And then the next memory I have is before our field trip to Expression in Wood, she comes to me and she says, hey, Mr. Drain, we're going to make a sign. I said, what do you mean? It's like, we made a sign for you. And here it is. Here we go, right here. Yeah, that's an awesome sign right there. This sign's going to be in my classroom until the end of time. And anytime anyone asks me, hey, where'd you get that sign? I'll simply reply, from the coolest Drew I know. Thank you, Drew, and I'll miss you next year. Cora Dalso. Cora is another one of those students I've had the privilege of teaching twice, and just like the others, I met Cora for the first time on Zoom. And I can remember that Cora was always one of the first to log in, and she would always greet me with a smile and say, hi, Mr. Drain. For a while, I always thought she must be smiling because she gets to jump on her bed during class. I mean, I'd be smiling too if I could do that. But later that year, we came back on campus, and the smile and hi, Mr. Drain continued. Fast forward to this year, and Cora is mostly always first to show up on campus. And she still greets me with a smile, but the words have evolved a little bit. Now it's, hi, Mr. Drain. Is there a job I can do for Drain Bucks? And most of the time there is. Cora has probably earned more Drain Bucks before school even starts than anyone in history. Cora is a happy person, someone who enjoys life. And in today's society, that's something money, even Drain Bucks, can't buy. So thank you, Cora, for always greeting me each day with a smile and reminding me that life is something that no matter what, is meant to be enjoyed. You miss. Ian Delgadillo. I've known Ian since he joined my class in 3rd grade, and the thing to me that stands out with Ian is that he is reliable. And there's something to be said about reliability in the world. Everyone loves things they can trust. It's why there are more and more people becoming Angel fans. It's way less stressful because the Angels are reliable. They never make the playoffs. But I can always count on Ian. Something that seems simple, but for so many is hard to do, is to turn in their phones every day. I never once had to ask Ian. He'd walk in, hand me his phone, and that would be it. Being reliable isn't flashy, and oftentimes may not get you recognition. I remember talking to my brother, who coaches the KYL Huskies, and he was trying to figure out who's going to run the ball for him this year in football. I suggested Ian, and my brother responded, that's not a bad idea, because I know I can count on Ian to know the plays and run them correctly. From my own experience, it was great coming to class every day knowing that if anything ever went wrong or there was an argument of some sort, I could always count on Ian to tell me the unbiased truth. Thank you, Ian, for being you. Isaiah Fairley. Here is your president. And you know what? You can clap. You want to clap? And you know what? I was not surprised at all when the vote went final. You know, Isaiah is the only person in class who served as president more than once, and it was 3 times. Now, from the outside looking in, that may surprise you, because Isaiah is a man of few words. You know, and leadership can often be misinterpreted as the person who's being the loudest. But leadership is defined as the ability of an individual to influence and guide others. You know, one instance stands out in my mind when I think of this. You know, it can get pretty heated at PE sometimes. And there was one PE in particular that didn't go the way that most of the boys wanted. And they blamed one person for it. So they go to the snack tables, and they're all sitting together, and some of them decide, you know what, he made us lose, let's go leave. But Isaiah stayed there, didn't move, and because of that, everyone else stayed. That's leadership. Thank you, Isaiah, for being a positive leader in our class. And since I know you love dad jokes, here's one for the road. My wife told me she was getting really angry with me for singing I'm a Believer on repeat. I thought she was joking. Then I saw her face. Okay, Isaiah Garcia. You know, I think it's safe to say that Isaiah has matured the most out of my previous 3rd graders until now. I've been very proud of the growth he's shown in the classroom. But what I'm going to remember most about Isaiah is how much he loves the sport of soccer. Chances are, if you walked on campus at any point in time throughout the school day, Isaiah would be kicking or dribbling some sort of round object with his foot. And when I say round object, I do mean any round object. I walked out of the office once for snack, and I turned the corner, and I saw Isaiah drop one of those mandarin orange cuties on the ground. And right when I was about to open my mouth and get after him, the orange popped back up. And for what felt like the next 5 minutes, I watched in amazement as Isaiah juggled this orange without letting it hit the ground. The amazement left because then I watched him peel and eat the orange. That's neither here nor there. 12-year-old boys will eat anything. So thank you, Isaiah, for the memories. And remember me when you're making millions. Izzy Hahn. Izzy is someone I've known for a while. I've coached and or taught both of her older brothers. And to them, I will say only this. Pay attention to Izzy because she can teach you a thing or two. Izzy is both a caring and confident individual. Her confidence showed brightly in both the Christmas play, where she did a phenomenal job, but also in this year's spelling bee. After she was crowned the winner, the judges and Mrs. Moore both stated that the key to Izzy's success was that she was confident, and every word she spelled knowing that it was right and didn't overthink it. And also, as stated before, she is caring. And hopefully she forgives me for this story, but here we go. One day in class, we were going over literature, and we were talking about how authors use words sometimes to make readers feel a certain way and how they set the mood of their book. So I had a perfect example from 3rd grade, Stone Fox. And if you've ever read Stone Fox, it's a great book. Okay, but this little boy and his dog are trying to win this sled race and just to save the farm. And just before the boy's about to win, the dog dies. And then, as I'm telling this story and I'm acting it out in class, the girls start yelling at me, "Mr. Drain! Mr. Drain!" And I look up and they say, "You made Izzy cry." And I said, "Yes! That's exactly what the author wanted you to do! Izzy's the only one with feelings in this room." So thank you, Izzy. I'll miss you next year. Merida Honigman. You know, this world needs more Meridas, and let me tell you why. I once read a quote that said, "It's the little things that make the happy moments, not the grand events. Joy comes in sips, not gulps." You know, and my first thought was, man, this would be a great marketing idea for Panera's Sip Club. But then, I thought of the first time I met Merida. The first day of school is a big day for a lot of people, but specifically the 6th graders, it's the day they get their lockers. And in order to get your locker, you have to prove that you can use your lock. Lock it, unlock it. And so I have the lock set out on everyone's desk, and they start going, trying to figure it out. And there's a lot of frustration involved, because you got to turn 3 times, you got to go back, skip the number. It's a mess. So I'm walking around the room helping people, and all of a sudden I hear, "Yes!" And I turn around, and Merida has both hands in the air with her lock held up high because she opened her lock. And there was so much joy in that moment for her that she opened her lock. And since then, you know, I've found that quote is true. So thank you, Merida, for helping me focus on finding the joy in all of life's little sips. Joseph Chow. Joe is a new addition to the school this year, but it didn't take long for Joe to gain popularity in the class. Besides being probably the fastest individual in a sprint, Joe could possibly be the strongest guy in the class. And how do I know this? Well, in Catalina, we have to walk 1 mile up a hill to our campground. We walk 1 mile down the hill. But along this walk, there's a park. And at this park, there's those workout machines in those parks. And I always bring up the rear. I always, walk in the back. So I'm walking, and we're casually just going in a group. And if you know Joe, he had his navy blue jacket on, and he's walking, and all of a sudden Joe leaves the group. I go, "What's happening here?" And Joe hops up on the workout machines, pumps out like 6 or 7 pull-ups, hops down, rejoins the group, and keeps walking. And I'm thinking to myself, I want to try that. But you'd think that with all that ability, Joe would relish all this attention. But he hates it. Joe is as humble as they come. In fact, he voted against himself when the class voted him president. You know what? I know that he's probably hating that he has to stand up here right now. So I won't torture him any longer. Thank you for a great year, Joe, and stay humble. Bentley Jimenez. There are things in life that are certainties. Paying taxes, gravity, the McDonald's ice cream machine not working, the Clippers never winning a championship, and Bentley volunteering to help. It seemed this year that every time I turned a corner, Bentley would greet me and ask me if I needed help with something. I really appreciated this on field trips because Bentley was my go-to guy to carry the infamous red backpack. You know, and Bentley's helpfulness is genuine. And this isn't just coming from me, but from the other teachers and staff as well. Bentley told me he wants to go into firefighting when he gets older, specifically forest fire service. So it was awesome. In Catalina, we're walking as a group back to the campground, and all of a sudden, Bentley then wanders across the street. And when I look, there's a fire department, the Catalina Fire Department's there. And he goes, "Mr. Drain, can I buy a shirt?" And I say, "They sell shirts?" And he says, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, go buy a shirt." So the group kept going, and I stayed with Bentley, and we didn't just get a shirt. Okay, Bentley got his own personal tour of the firehouse, because that's just the kind of guy Bentley is. You know, thank you, Bentley, for always being willing to lend a helping hand, and that trait will serve you well in the future. Canon John Dahl. I'm very proud of the growth Canon displayed this year. You know, our class theme is attitude of gratitude. And to go along with that, on our classroom door, there's a sign that reads, "Be a winner, not a whiner." In other words, you know, be like Kobe and not LeBron. Now this is something that's easier said than done, but Canon worked hard and made a conscious effort to improve in this area. And by the end of the year, in Catalina, he was saying thank you to everyone and everything. We went kayaking, and Canon's partner was Dom, and they were loving kayaking. Canon, the entire hour we were out there, was just telling everyone how great it was and how much fun he was having, and how it's the greatest thing he's ever done. You know, and they were the last guys in, and when they came in, I wait for everyone because they got to grab their stuff. So Canon was the last guy, and I'm standing there watching him, and he turns around, faces the ocean, and he says, "Thank you. That was the greatest thing ever." And I said to myself, this is impressive. He's thanking the ocean. But then our guide took his head out and said, "You're welcome, my man. Great job." But, you know, thank you, Canon. You did a great job this year, and I'm proud of you. Liam Leva. Liam is someone I didn't have in 3rd grade, but was someone I found out early on I was going to relate to well. Why? Because Liam is one of the most competitive individuals I have ever met. You know, and being a competitor isn't necessarily something that can be taught. And being a competitive individual myself, I know that sometimes, and I'm sure your parents will attest, that it's not just a blessing, it can be a curse. You know, Michael Jordan once said, you know, "I won't let anything get in the way of me and my competitive enthusiasm to win." And I believe this is a perfect quote for Liam. One memory that comes to mind, the first day at Catalina, I was talking about how I was going to get my steps in on my Apple Watch. And Liam had an Apple Watch, and he said, "Mr. Drain, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get more steps than you." And on day 1, he demolished me. But day 2, I said, "Don't worry, I got this." I got up an hour early. I started walking around. I was moving my hands like this, because you know that's all you have to do with these things. Okay? And by the time Liam woke up, I was at 2,000 steps. He came over and he said, "Mr. Drain, how many steps do you have?" I said, 2,000. "What you going to do now?" And he casually hopped the fence, the little fence route, and started running back and forth. Sprints. And then every time he finished a sprint, he'd look at his watch. And he'd say, "I'm not there yet." And then he'd sprint some more. And for 10 minutes, I watched this guy run back and forth until finally he said, "Mr. Drain, I got 2,400 steps. And I said, this kid is sick. What is happening? But hey, you know what, Liam? Keep on competing in all aspects of your life, and there's nothing that's going to stop you. Mackenzie Mattis. If I were a 6th grader, I'd want Mackenzie as my friend because she is loyal and she's always up to date on the latest trend. I remember there was a time one of the boys did something mean to one of her friends at recess, and the next thing I know, a herd of girls, led by Mackenzie, are storming into the classroom demanding an apology from the boy that was mean, and making it known that no one messes with her friends. Also, Mackenzie will never let a friend take a bad picture. Before our class pictures, before picture day, she would always take the girls in and make sure all their hairs were nice, check it out in the mirror, and it always worked. And then in Catalina, we were souvenir shopping. And Mackenzie walks up to me and she said, "Mr. Drain, isn't this a great souvenir?" And I look at it and it's just a flip-up mirror. And I said, "What do you mean? You can get that at home?" And she said, "No, I can't." And she closes it, and on the front cover is an imprint of Catalina Island. She said, "See, Mr. Drain, I can only get it here." I said, "You're right, it's a great souvenir." She said, "I know, right?" And she walked away. Lastly, I am not up to date on any trend or lingo, but it's a good thing I have Mackenzie, because anytime someone in class said something that sounded hip or cool, I'd ask Mackenzie and she would let me know if it was or not. So, thank you, Mackenzie, and if anyone needs a friend, Mackenzie's a great choice. Gia Mayuga. Gia is another person I had in 3rd grade, and something that I appreciate about Gia is that she's a perfectionist. Everything she does to the highest standard. She wants all her work to be perfect, and that led her to be 2-time spelling bee champion coming into this year. Unfortunately, she did not walk away with the crown, but afterwards, she came up to me and said, "You know what? I did my best, and I'm happy for Izzy." And that comment and that moment made me so proud of Gia, because I know how hard it must have been. But it showed how much character growth, showed a lot of character growth in Gia. I'm proud of how much she has grown these past 3 years. Also, another thing I'll remember, Gia always asked me at some point in time during the day, she said, "Mr. Drain, how are you doing today?" A lot of these times, it would come right after I got really upset at someone or was yelling at someone for doing something they weren't supposed to do in class. And then Gia would quietly walk over and be like, "So, Mr. Drain, how are you doing today?" And without knowing, that question always made me forget about whatever it was I was upset about. So thank you, Gia. And remember, shoot for the moon, but if you miss, don't worry, because you'll land amongst the stars. Uma Morris. I've known Uma for a while. I've taught her brother twice, and now I've taught her twice. And there's one question that Uma has been dying to know the answer of. Who talks more? Well, I guess I'll answer it now. So sorry, Uma, Geronimo talked more. But I think you have a better arm than Geronimo, and that's a discussion for another time. I always remember when I taught these guys in 3rd grade, it was the same year my daughter was born. And Uma was super excited, and all she wanted to do was babysit. She helped out in the summer nursery school at Rio, and now, whenever my daughter sees a class picture, she'll point and say, "Hey, there's Uma." Fast forward, and my son was born last year, and every day this year, Uma comes up to me and she says, "Mr. Drain, how's your son doing? Can I babysit. And once this year, I was late getting to Rio to pick up my kids, so I had Mr. Chang grab them and watch them until I arrived. I get there, and when I arrive, my son's not there. So I asked Mr. Chang, where is he? And he said, Uma took him. She said she was babysitting. Sure enough, I find Uma watching a baseball game with my son, just chilling in her lap. So thank you, Uma, for all the great memories. You're gonna make a great mother someday, and you can babysit anytime. Ruby Northpet. My first memory of Ruby was one day we were watching a Disney movie in class, Percy Jackson, I think, and Ruby says, Mr. Drain, do you know that all these Disney movies are connected, and they leave little Easter eggs in the movies to show it? And I like that kind of stuff. So, every time we watch the Disney movie, I loved having these discussions with Ruby. Ruby wants to be a lawyer, and I think she'd be a great one because she's a great debater. She would often use these skills when I would catch her trying to smuggle some sort of snack from her backpack into her mouth during one of our class lectures. We would have a little back and forth, and she would make some great points like, Mr. Drain, I need this. I missed snack for the newscast. Or, food fuels the brain. If I don't eat, I can't learn. I would normally not give in, but every time, for some reason, I'd feel bad about saying no. My favorite memory has to do with her love of candy. One day, Ruby came to school with multiple large bags of candy. And at snack, she dumped them into a large container, and when I asked her about it, she said, I'm making a salad. I said, that's not a salad. And if I'm not mistaken, Ruby then replied, it's colorful, and eating lots of colors is healthy. I guess I can't argue with that one. So thank you, Ruby, and I'll take a salad from you anytime. Aiden Perez. Aiden was a new addition to Pearl this year, and I can say without hesitation that now that he's here, I can't imagine this class without him. I related really well with Aiden early on because he's part of a big family just like I am. And having younger siblings often means that your mind has some built-in presets. For example, I was calling roll one day, and when I got to Aiden's name, I said Aiden, but he didn't answer. So then I said it again a little louder, and he immediately threw both hands up in the air and said, I didn't do it. I laughed and thought to myself, that's a guy who's got some younger siblings, right? Aiden is also someone who cares about other people. And although he doesn't want people to know it, he is very intelligent. And he knows how to combine those two things to his advantage. As stated before, in Catalina, we got to do a lot of walking. And as we were walking to our campsite the first day, I noticed that there were quite a few girls without their backpacks. So I was like, where are your backpacks? And they said, Aiden's carrying them. And sure enough, the man had 6 or 7 backpacks, and he was carrying them up the hill. And I said, wow, this guy's wise beyond his years. Take notes, guys. Being caring goes a long way. Thank you, Aiden. Jeremiah Perez. Jeremiah has shown a tremendous amount of growth since 3rd grade. I remember him being a little reserved and not someone who liked to have the attention taken away. But now Jeremiah is a showman, and he is easily the person everyone in the class would say is their friend. Jerry gets along with everyone, and he knows how to grasp everyone's attention. You know, as I was writing this, there were two things that came to mind, and they were card tricks and backflips. You know, early on in the school year, I auctioned off a deck of cards, which Jerry bought with his drain bucks. And a week later, he showed up with them doing card tricks and shuffling the cards with a tremendous amount of skill. He was shooting them from one hand to the other, and I was like, man, this guy's cool. So when they went to PE and he left his cards on the desk, I tried it, and all the cards ended up on the ground, and I had to pick them up before anyone could see. You know, then another time at recess, I went out there on the field, and Jeremiah walked up to me and said, hey, Mr. Drain, check this out. He then jumped straight into a backflip and landed on his feet, and I was left stunned. He then said, Mr. Drain, you want to try it? I said, normally I would, but I hurt my hamstring in tennis racket baseball, but normally I would. You know, Jeremiah laughed, knowing full well I had no chance. But thank you, Jeremiah, for all those memorable moments. Isabella Reynoso. When I think of Bella, the first thing that comes to mind is that she is the life of the party. Everyone has a little more pep in their step when Bella's at school. One day she came up to me and asked, in a British accent, because if you know Bella, she's always talking in an accent. She said, Mr. Drain, would you like to join Sway Academy? I said, what is Sway Academy? She said, it's my dance club that I started, and we're going to perform at recess. Do you want to come? I said, okay. So sure enough, at recess that day, Sway Academy was in full form, and there were some boys in Sway Academy, I might add. Okay, and they put on a performance, and it was one to remember. And you know, another memory I have is last week, she came into class in the morning and she walked up, she said, Mr. Drain. I said, yes. She said, I think I'm going to teach today. I said, I don't know what that means. She said, I'm going to teach the class. And I said, oh, okay. So I went and sat down in one of the student chairs, and Bella did all the morning stuff. She took roll, she did the lunches, and we made it through with no hiccups. And then I had to take over because then it was getting a little too rowdy. But you know, it was never a dull moment with Bella, and I'm going to miss that next year. So thank you for always being you and making every day one to remember. Danny Rodriguez. Danny was another one of the students that was new to me this year, but I was excited to have her in class because based on what I had heard, she was someone that was going to have a good time, would like to have a good time in class. You know, and one of the things I remember most about Danny is that at any moment in time, she could break into a dance. She came up to my desk one day with a paper to ask a question, and as I was answering it, she cut me off and said, Mr. Drain, check this out, and then started dancing. She finished the dance, took the paper, and went back. So, you know, but what I appreciated the most about Danny is that she's not afraid to speak her mind. You know, during class games, I am a known cheater. I like to make sure that the game stays close and everyone has a chance at the end. You know, and this always used to play out perfectly until Danny. You know, it's safe to say that there were some blowout victories this year because Danny made sure I played the game the right way. So thank you, Danny, for always telling me how it is, whether good or bad, and now I give you permission to do the same with all your other teachers. Keola Sai. back here, as you already know, is our valedictorian. And some people in the class were a little shocked when Mrs. Moore made the announcement because there were so many people that it could have been. But it was no shock to me. And it made me really excited because I knew that being valedictorian meant that Keola was going to have to give a speech. Something I know she was not very excited about, but she did a great job. Keola is very soft-spoken, but one thing she does know how to do is ask questions. There will never be any shortage of questions from Keola, and I appreciate about that about her very much. She always wants to make sure she's doing the right thing at the right time. One thing I'll never forget about Keola is back in 3rd grade, when we were having school on Zoom, I would always like to let the Zoom go on a little after school so that people could socialize and talk a little. But it would always turn into 45 minutes of us watching Keola walk around her house with her tablet narrating the life of her bunny. It was the most entertaining part of our whole day. So thank you, Keola, and your speech was unbelievable. Ben Vasquez. Ben was new to this class in 3rd grade, and right away I was thinking Ben is going to fit in perfectly because he loves Marvel, Star Wars, and basketball, 3 of life's many essentials. What I appreciate about Ben the most is his respect for other people, his teachers, classmates, and coaches. If we voted, the class would without a doubt, vote Ben as the most respectful guy in the class. As stated before, Ben loves basketball. And I love talking basketball with Ben because we agree on a lot of things. For example, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter ever, right? And LeBron is not the greatest ever. Okay? But one memory that will always stand out for me is one Saturday this basketball season, the Cal Bears had to play the Huskies. And I was like, okay, we're going to get a win. The Cal Bears are strong. We're going to get a win because we can do this. And at halftime, the score was 10-10. All right? We start the second half. Cal scores the first basket. I'm feeling good. But then the Huskies proceeded to score the next 32 points of the entire game. And it was led by Ben himself. And usually after a loss like this, I'd have to have a session with my doctor, Dr. Pepper. But this time it wasn't necessary because Ben's sportsmanship lifted my spirits. So thank you, Ben, for always being respectful to everyone you come into contact with. Anita Wong. Anita is the type of student every teacher wants. She's hardworking, respectful, kind, intelligent, works well with everyone, and is able to help other classmates with understanding the material. She's the Swiss Army knife of students. During minimum day for open house this year, instead of going outside and playing during Dolphin Club like she could have, she, along with some others, decided they were going to stay in and help me get the classroom ready, cleaned up and ready for the evening. She saved me a lot of time that afternoon, and it wouldn't have been ready without you. But one thing I'll remember most about Anita is that her ability to write. She's a great writer. She's an outstanding writer. She can write better than I can. And I remember in 3rd grade, she wrote a book. It's like a 5-6 chapter book, and I was so impressed with it. Now I know Anita may not have it may not have been what you thought it should have been, but I thought it was incredible. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future. So thank you, Anita, and I'll miss you. Isaac Zong. Isaac was a a new student for me this year, and from what information I gathered, I knew he was going to bring a lot of excitement. Isaac loves to ask questions and spark discussions on a variety of topics, but most of them center around money. The first thing I recall him asking me was, Mr. Drain, what's your gross annual income? I told him, hey man, that's a question from Mrs. Moore. Go ask her. You know, the next day he showed up to school with a blank W-9 tax form. And he said, Mr. Drain, I gotta study up so I can be your accountant one day. You know, Isaac also holds a very special title in this class. He's the only boy that is a member of my Cal team, KYL. And during baseball season, I would jokingly tell him that whenever he got a little rowdy, I would say, hey, you better watch out. When we go to practice today, I'm going to peg you because you've been misbehaving today. And it was all part of my plan to get him to stay in the box, right? So then we go to Catalina, and we're playing wiffle ball, and I tell him, I said, man, you were loud this morning. I'm going to peg you with this ball. And I pitch it, and Isaac swings, and it's a line drive. It was beautiful. The problem was, it hit me right in the leg. A little tear came out, not because of the bruise he left me, but because Isaac stayed in there and killed that ball. I was so proud. So thank you, Isaac. It's been a pleasure. And maybe one day you can do my taxes. Rena Joe. You know, in this world, we are blessed with many spectacles. You have Old Faithful Geyser, the Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, the Dreamsicle Frosty from Wendy's, and Rena's artwork. If you missed the Greek play we did in class this year, make sure you go to the Pearl YouTube page and check it out. And when you do, you'll see a drawing of Pandora on the home page that looks like it must have come from the computer. But no, it came from Rena. You know, all throughout the year, whenever there was a need to do something that included art, most of those who are like me, artistically challenged, would head over onto Rena's desk and ask for some assistance. You know, Rena was always happy to help. And on Greek Day, we had a challenge in the class to who could make the best poster that represented your city-state, Sparta or Athens. And I told them at the end I was going to take it around and have it be judged by other teachers. And then someone said, Mr. Drain, there's no need. Look at what Rena did. You have no chance. And they were right. Rena's poster won easy. Rena, your artwork is incredible, and I'll be jealous of all your future teachers because now they'll get to see it, not me. All right, well, there they are. The 28 parts of this extraordinary 6th grade family. You know, throughout this year, they always showed up and looked after one another, and they're always looking for a way to grow as a group. You know, a couple weeks ago, I walked out to recess, and they were all trying to make this human pyramid for a picture. And I asked them, what are you doing? And they said, Mr. Drain, it's class bonding. We're coming together. And I said, okay, all right, sounds good. But I just want to say thank you to all you parents. It's been a true blessing to teach your children, and I've learned a lot from them, and they have been a blessing to me over the last 10 months. And you know, I can say with true sincerity that I'm very proud of who they are, and I'm sad to see them move on. But remember, guys, if you ever need anything, Mr. Drain always has your back. Thank you.
Some parents, we have yet to make you cry. We have a video coming up featuring all of the students and sharing with some comments that they made about their year here at Pearl, and showing some of them growing up all the way from kindergarten to 6th grade. Now they're 7th graders after today. I have a few announcements as Mr. Drain sets up the video. So we'll begin in just a couple minutes here. But first off, Mr. Drain is worried that some of these students and some of the parents didn't understand that we are very strange at Pearl. And because you graduate does not mean that you don't have to come to school tomorrow. We are having school tomorrow. We have a lot of lockers to clean out, desks to clean out, and very importantly, we're giving out the yearbooks and doing a yearbook signing with both the teachers and the students, which they won't want to miss, as well as thank you to the Covey family who are hosting the pool party in the afternoon along with the luncheon. So do not miss school tomorrow because we need that final class bonding. And then on Friday to finish out the whole year, I hope many of you can make it to our family beach day. Should be a fun day down at the beach on Friday. Weather looks good, so hopefully we'll have a nice sunny day then. At this time, I'm going to dismiss the 6th graders to go to the back so they get a chance to see the video. We're going to hit the lights and pull down the screen.
It's
is the many memories I've made with my friends and the teachers here at Pearl.
My favorite class is 6th grade because Mr. Jenny was part of it. It was really fun.
Favorite time at Pearl was when I first came and I saw my friends from Kid. But I saw Pearl is helping the kindergartners and giving them high fives. My favorite field trip was the LA port because we went on a boat and we saw a lot of dolphins, which was pretty cool. Your field trip was Catalina because we went snorkeling and we saw a bunch of sea life. My favorite honor class was first aid because we did fireman care and we did a scenario where everyone had different issues and we had to take care of them. Maybe practice hard because they can make lots of cool stuff. I want to thank the Pearl teachers for putting us in class for so long. Pearl was when I was on stage with the Dragon Fly. I got the best seats and I also got to help them. My favorite class is 6th grade because we got to do things like Greek Day, cheering races, and Egyptian Day. My favorite honor is art class because we got the chance to make games. One of the things I learned about Pearl was to be a leader, not a whiner. Thanks, Mr. Chang. One of the things I learned from Pearl is to be kind to others even when no one is looking. My favorite teacher is Catalina because I learned to go kayaking and make a lot of fun memories with my friends. One of the things I like at program is when we have the reading instead of prizes, like when we went to the ice cream truck, and look for my eyes for Chuck E. Cheese. My favorite honors art class was robotics with Mr. Eric, and it's because I did My favorite field trip was San Diego because it was like a gigantic world with my friends. Favorite teacher was Mr. Drain because he was really fun and cool, and one of my favorite things that he did was give us show books and make auction. What I'll miss most about Pearl is New Ways because I love to see little kindergartners and hugging them when New Ways is over.
My favorite class is math because it made me work hard and I did well.
My favorite honors art class is drama because I got trapped in singing and I much enjoyed this. all the teachers because they need to learn from. My favorite teacher is Mr. Gray because he makes learning fun and he has funny inside jokes. My favorite field trip was